TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Most people don't even make $75,000 a year. The fact they can spend it just like that without any financial issues coming up is truly mind blowing.
Making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant. All right. Is that six figures? Are you making
No, Jesse, it's actually $40,000. And after taxes, they're taking home $33,135. So the take-home pay is $2,761. And the average one-bedroom apartment in this country is $1,713 plus $200 for utilities. The average American's spending about $100 a week on groceries, so another $400 just to eat. So someone making $20 an hour in 2024 in the United States of America is left with $448 that they have to stretch for health insurance, car payment, car insurance, car maintenance, gas, cell phone, personal care, maybe child care, 401k, savings, miscellaneous, the list goes on. But we're talking about $20 for a fast food worker. Well, as of May 1st, 2024, ZipRecruiter said the entry-level college grads in the United States are making $23 an hour. So let's run the numbers for them. Their take-home pay would be $31.35 minus $17.13 for rent, $200 for utilities, $400 for groceries. And because they went to college, the average loan payment for a bachelor's degree is about $512. So a college graduate making $23 an hour in 2024 in this country is left with $310 to do for health insurance, car, and everything else that I listed. So for people like Jesse, for the politicians, for the celebrities, for the elites, for the top 1% who are out of touch with everyday Americans, and especially our youth, $20 an hour is not $100,000. In fact, $20 an hour, people can barely survive in 2024.
Forget out of touch. What math was he doing and assuming you actually get 40 hours?
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. I'm being generous. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? Who cares if you make $4,000 a month if you don't get to keep any of it? 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes half of six-figure earners. 80% of you guys are in debt and don't own anything, and half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor and let's call other people poor. Living paycheck to paycheck your whole life and being in debt your whole life should be considered poverty, but it's not. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of Americans, but it's the truth. The US system wants you to spend every waking moment of your life working and paying into a system that will never benefit you. Slaving away your whole life just to be retired for a measly 10 years. At least here in Mexico, we own our things. We own our houses. We own our cars. We're not in debt. But anyways, that's a story for another day.
The reason why they call it the American dream is because you have to be asleep to believe it. You know who said that? The comedian George Carlin. All right. Tom Brady knew the roasting was no longer on him.
Kardashian allegedly pays Netflix $1 million to remove the part where she's getting booed by the audience at Tom Brady roast. During the broadcast of Tom Brady's roast on Netflix, an uncomfortable moment featuring Kim Kardashian faced an apparent edit that has caught viewers' attention. The live event showcased Kardashian getting booed by the crowd as she approached the podium, a moment that seemingly disappeared in the streaming service's version. Witnesses to the live roast reported that audience boos ensued right after Kardashian made her way to the microphone, following an introduction by comedian Kevin Hart, who was the target of her opening jest. References to the awkward exchange quickly made rounds online, only to be seemingly omitted when Netflix uploaded the roast on their platform. Users on social media platforms like X, previously known as Twitter, did not miss the chance to critique the streaming giant for the edit. The mission stirred a debate online, with some showing support for Kim Kardashian on how she dealt with the negative reception, while others harshly criticized the action of content alteration taken by Netflix. What do you think about this?
You know, Kim Kardashian constantly curating a false reality. She spent $1 million for nothing.
Have you ever heard of white torture? It's something far more sinister than you might expect. White torture is a type of psychological torture technique aimed at complete sensory deprivation and isolation. A prisoner is held in a cell that deprives them of all senses and identity. It is particularly used in Iran. However, there is also evidence of its use by Venezuela and United States intelligence services. The prisoner is deprived of all color. Their cell is completely white. The walls, floor, and ceiling, as well as their clothes and food. Neon tubes are positioned above the occupant in such a way that no shadows appear. The cell is soundproof and void of any sound, voices, or social interaction. Guards stand in silence, dressed in all white, wearing padded shoes to avoid making any noise. Prisoners cannot hear anything but themselves. In terms of taste and smell, the prisoner is fed white food, classically unseasoned rice, to deprive them of these senses. Further, all surfaces are smooth, robbing them of the variability of touch sensations. Detainees are often held for months or even years. The effects of white torture are well documented in a number of testimonials. Typically, prisoners will become depersonalized by losing personal identity for extended periods of isolation. Other effects can include hallucinations or psychosis. It was documented in the case of Amir Fakhravar, who was arrested in his native Iran and subjected to white torture for 8 months in 2004. While the physical pain of sensory deprivation is minimal compared to other torture techniques, the psychological damage is beyond compare. Fakhravar was quoted as saying when he was released he was not a normal person anymore and could no longer remember even the faces of his parents.
What? I like white better than darkness. What do you think?
1111 or 444 or a repeat of certain numbers. That's a good sign because that's the universe letting you know that you're on the right track, that you are aware, that you're even noticing it is important. And when you notice it, say thank you. It's not the numbers themselves that are important. What's important is that it catches your attention and you notice it, which means you're on the right track and you're raising your vibration. Say thank you. It's a good sign from the universe. Keep doing what you're doing. Become more aware.
I think it's not about the numbers. When you notice it, it means you're grounded to yourself. You're present. You know, I'm with Christ. I don't care about numbers. The Holy Spirit always give me discernment. This is interesting. Let me know how you feel about this.
Print for the Great Pyramid, for example, was so sound they had foreknowledge of exactly how to build it and why. You see that these stones were made and cut and put into place exactly, precisely when needed. It didn't take 20 years, in my opinion. It probably took maybe less than a year to build that pyramid. This is something that has been done so many times. Gotcha. It's common knowledge. Well, check this out. The Great Pyramid, if you calculating by the size of the base and the size of the stones, you can calculate the time, 365 days in a year. You can calculate the distance from the Earth to the moon. You can calculate the distance from the Earth to the sun. You can calculate the speed of the Earth around the sun, the speed of the Earth on its axis, the speed of the sun around the Milky Way galaxy, and the speed of the Milky Way galaxy around the local cluster, all from the Great Pyramid mathematics. Talking about advanced technology, advanced beings that made that pyramid as a time capsule of incredible knowledge. A star map even is built into it to tell us who was here in the ancient past and who did it and how.
Hear me when I say
Bro did a good job forgetting about continental drift. Ain't no star map. He just does a good job saying a lot of nonsense that can be disproven nor proven.
cover your ears at night. Just find a way. Get yourself a scarf, create a cute little scarf situation, whatever you need to do, okay? And this is not about sound. It's not about blocking out the sound. It's much worse than that. Hang with me. I went to bed one night. Woke up in the morning, couldn't hear out of one of my ears. Of course, I panicked because I have health anxiety and I immediately spiraled. And I'm a highly sensitive person, so any little shift, I feel it, and I feel it big. So I immediately went to the ENT. I was like, am I deaf? Because that had happened to my uncle. He literally went to bed one night, woke up the next morning, he was deaf in one ear. And they never figured out why. There was no sort of like trauma or anything that had happened to that ear. He never had an answer. He's not with us anymore. But it drove him crazy for years. So I, of course, went there. I was like, oh, I've like gone deaf in that ear. No. The ENT looks into my ear and, sorry, this is gross. Not as gross as what I'm about to say later. And he's like, oh, it's just a tiny little bit of earwax, like barely anything. You created a suction when you were sleeping and you must have misplaced that. And that's never happened to me ever once, but I guess it can happen. Just the perfect right amount of circumstances to like misplace a little piece of earwax, whatever. So he gets this little instrument, goes in there, pulls it out. It's barely anything. And like the pressure is released and I feel like my ear canal is clear and I can hear and I'm like, thank you. I'm so glad it wasn't like a bug. I'm so glad it wasn't a bug. Thinking he would laugh with me, he was like, yeah, you're really lucky. That actually happened to a girl just like you, like a week prior. I was like, really? Explain. Apparently, she presented with the same symptoms I had, just feeling like a bit of pressure and discomfort, and like her hearing was affected, and she could hear like little scratchy noises, and she thought she had like damaged her hearing from like a concert or something. He looked in her ear, and I'm so sorry, but there was a cockroach.
Ugh.
There was a cockroach lodged in her ear, deep into her ear. And the scratching sound was the cockroach trying to get out.
Oh my goodness.
Telling you, I asked him, I said, that must have been a very rare occurrence, right? It happens all the time. And in fact, he told me that bugs often go into our ears at night while we're sleeping and we don't even know it. They like it because it's warm and moist. They often get out, but sometimes they stay in there, deep in there.
Fun fact.
You know, I thought she was about to drop some Ouija, like origin of evil, sleep whispering lore on me. But actually, this is a good idea. I never thought about it. I'll get some earplug.
Due to a genetic mutation, some monkeys in the Amazon rainforest sound indistinguishable from humans, from what some witnesses recount as somewhat broken English. Because of this similarity, it has led some explorers to believe that they were being followed.
Why does Bro's eyes give off the feeling like he's witnessed this firsthand? And why would they sound like broken English instead of broken Portuguese?
Internet was created by the American military in order to manage the American empire. It was created by DARPA in the 1960s in order to digitize and be able to quickly share within the military all of the social science research on foreign populations who were posing insurgency concerns to U.S. managed governments. In 1991, the World Wide Web rolls out. DARPA turns over the internet to the National Science Foundation and projects that through a bunch of universities to make it publicly available for commercial use. As soon as the internet came out, DARPA commissioned a program called Massive Digital Data Systems Program. And the Massive Digital Data Systems Program was a joint project of the NSA and the CIA. Part of this involved tracking search results through the early search engines that were created to be able to navigate this new internet. And this is where Google comes into the picture. In 1995, Larry Page and Sergey Brin are PhD students at Stanford. They had a DARPA grant to do this search engine aggregation work. They would then take this work to form a company called Google in 1998. Google quickly came out with very innovative product sets like Google Maps. They got Google Maps by purchasing the CIA's Keyhole satellite software. It was the CIA's spy satellite software that is the only reason Google got Google Maps.
So American tax dollars was used to develop this, and they sold it and let selected people make trillions, not the taxpayer?
Free. See it first on Rumble. Whoa, friends, so we have some news to talk about with our star. Over the last few days, we have had 10 X-class solar flares. In the last 24 hours, we've had 4 X-class solar flares aimed at Earth, all producing strong CMEs. That is a coronal mass ejection. Not all solar flares produce a CME. That's the part that affects us. So all 4 of these in the last 24 hours are headed to Earth. All of them are very strong, and all of them shot off a CME at us. So think about the sun as like somebody with a shotgun. And if they're spinning around in circles shooting it, it doesn't really matter unless it's pointed at you. So the sun is constantly, popping off these solar flares all the time. But they don't really affect us unless they are aimed right at us and unless they are strong enough to hit us, because our Earth is covered by a magnetic shield. Well, as we've talked about a lot in my videos, that magnetic field, that shield, that force field is weakening, and it's weakening quickly and significantly. So as these CMEs hit us with all of this plasma radiation from the sun, it affects us, especially when our force field is weak. Now we, as humans, are electromagnetic beings. We have electromagnetic fields around us. As our force field around Earth weakens, and as these more powerful solar storms hit us, it does affect us spiritually, physiologically, mentally, emotionally. You will feel effects this weekend. These 4 now, quadruple, is crazy. Solar storms that are going to hit us will start hitting us tomorrow, Friday. We'll really feel it on Saturday and Sunday. So the strongest one actually just erupted early this morning. It probably won't be here till Sunday, even though it's moving quick, it looks. So be expecting to feel impacts starting Friday into Saturday and especially Sunday. And when I say impacts, I mean expect to see disruptions in our electronic devices, satellites, communication, that kind of stuff. Expect to feel, depending on the person, because everybody's physiology is different, but it's normal to feel a little more anxiety, restlessness, that kind of stuff, maybe trouble sleeping, all those kinds of things. So just, take precaution, that kind of stuff. Don't miss your medicines. I like to take a little more melatonin at night, get a little more running in during the day to work off some of the extra energy, that kind of stuff. But also know that we're entering a time period where I call it thinning of the veil. And a lot of the thinning of the veil has to do with how we get energized as electromagnetic beings. As our force field around Earth starts to weaken, and as we start getting hit more with these charged particles from our star, and you got to realize our star, our Logos, it's an energy machine. It's a data machine. It's sending us information at all times. That's why when you go outside and lay in the sun, you get sun codes, you get information, downloads. We're getting hit with a lot more of that. This is important because you're going to start having more epiphanies, ideas, aha moments, more understanding, more knowledge and wisdom is going to be hitting you. This is a good thing, but you got to be ready for it. So as we move into the solar maximum period, as our electromagnetic force field around Earth weakens, and as the sun starts popping off a lot more of these storms at us, we're going to have some changes here on Earth. Humans are going to change. Society's going to change. We're going into the Enlightenment period, the Great Awakening. This is all very exciting stuff. But expect some disruptions. Expect the people in power to not be so excited that the people are waking up. Also expect things like internet to go down, power to go out. Stuff like this will happen as these major CMEs hit us. It's like a global EMP. It's a big deal. And our infrastructure isn't that great. It's kind of held together with electrical tape right now, So we like to think that we're very technologically advanced, but a lot of these corporations cut corners and stuff. So when it comes to our communications and our grid and that kind of stuff, it's not the best, and it's hanging on by a thread. And like I said, as our force field weakens and as these storms get stronger, who knows what's going to happen. So it's not a bad idea to stock up on extra supplies. Remember, you can go 3 weeks without food. You don't want to go 3 days without water. Have lots and lots of water, batteries, candles, all that fun stuff, some puzzles. Make best of the time in the dark with your family and all those kinds of things. And hopefully none of this stuff happens. But I don't know the last time we had a quadruple X-class event like this, all aimed at Earth. Usually they're kind of aimed in different directions and we get some hits and misses. This one is a doozy, guys. And I would be prepared. I would. You know, I'm always prepared, but I think I'm going to go get a little extra prepared for this weekend because I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully nothing, but we'll see. Anyways, 4 X-class solar flares producing CMEs facing at Earth will be here starting tomorrow on Friday. You'll really feel it on Saturday. And it's an exciting time. Don't be scared. Be prepared, but also be ready for any information that comes, any sort of awakening and enlightenment. This is an exciting time, my friends. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think about all this. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Will people get more empathetic? We really need that to happen. And has time been going really fast for anyone? Please drop a comment.
Estimates here are correct. These are very covert weapons, aren't they?
That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things.
And you guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Goldman, for his round of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. Mr. Grozev, I want to follow up a little bit on the interactions you've had with Russian intelligence about these AHIs. And Mr. Zaid, I want to ask, and this is a hypothetical, but I'm trying to understand why our government would try to block information sharing or conceal information that they have. And one thing that comes to mind is whether there's an operational risk to revealing any of the details of their investigation. Is that something that you have come across in any of your work?
There's a lot of reasons why the information might not be publicly released. And I do think that's something we could address more in a classified environment to explain that. But there are understandable reasons why the U.S. government has not revealed much of what it knows.
There's some long-term things that needs to be done in terms of new acts. But in the short term, we need to do things like implement the original Havana Act. Yeah. DOD still hasn't done it. They still have not implemented the Havana Act. And we need a VA diagnostic code. Thanks to the VFW brothers and sisters that are here today and for your meeting earlier, we don't have a VA diagnostic code for the 500-some DOD survivors. Yeah. How are they going to get long-term care and disability without that?
Yeah. Well, I hope this issue you see in a room that is often contentious, explosive, volcanic, that you've got members on both sides who first honor and salute the victims and want to do everything we can to make sure that they're made whole, and if they can return. And then, of course, as the victims have wanted to do, make sure we do everything possible to prevent anyone else from suffering from this. And I yield back. Thank you, Chairman.
So this is what they sit around and talk about in meetings, and we are the conspiracy theorists. And believe it or not, they have been using frequencies against us since the radio was invented.
This is how you turn $150 into $100,000 in less than 1 hour. First thing you need is the $150. When you get the $150, you want to go to your local street vendor or the nearest pawn shop. When you get to the pawn shop or the street vendor, give them your $150 and tell them you want a Sky 9. A SCCY 9. A Sky 9. Cheapest shit you can buy. They gon' have it. I promise you. I guarantee you they gon' have it. Once you get the Sky 9, you want to get in your car and go to the nearest bank or a Walmart money center. But I prefer you go to the bank because they might have that type of cash. When you get to the bank, show the bank teller your Sky 9. The bank teller gonna be shocked at first that you even got a Sky 9. Tell them you want to make $100,000 withdrawal. They're gonna say yes sir or yes ma'am, and they're gonna give you the $100,000. in cash.
In
So
cash.
you get the cash. First thing you want to do is get the bank and get in your car. When you get in your car, get the Dodge and don't go back to that bank no more. You can do this multiple times. Now that you got the Sky9, you can use it anywhere. You can make withdrawals anywhere. All you gotta do is show them the Sky9 and you're gonna get it. It's guaranteed. SCCY9. You're welcome.
I'm so mad. I looked up Sky9. I cannot tell if he's trolling or being serious. I'ma just log in on Monday. I don't think this message was for me.
Where is he?
Right there, right there. Let's do this.
With him? So can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Come. Yes?
Just to let you know, I'm an attorney.
You're an attorney?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You came here to meet a 15-year-old girl.
She's 18.
On the dating apps, we were 18, but then we broke it to you whenever we were talking to you that we're younger.
I did. The whole time you were talking to me.
Just show the messages, yeah.
This is you.
Read it out loud, bro.
I can't stay out too late. I see. Sir. So what you were looking for? You acknowledged that she was 15.
If you're not lying, let's have a lie detector test. I'm Vitaly.
Are you dating?
No, you're free to
I've always been dating younger girls. You are not the only one.
Younger
Really?
means if I
How
am-
old are they? Early 20s or late teens? Girls are conditioned throughout the ages to find older guys attractive. Their knowledge, certainty of the world, concrete opinions to have their
What is late teens?
life.
What is late teens?
Do you not buy me lingerie?
No, that doesn't break any laws.
You're free to leave, but you not get any help from me.
What were you coming here
Coming
for?
for a date.
For a date.
With a 15-year-old.
With an 18.
She never said. She never.
clarified to you that
So
I
when
was
you go on the
15.
website, how I know she is below 18?
Because right here it says, since I'm 15, I can't stay out too late.
Listen,
it
if
says
you
I'm
are
15 right here.
driving and texting.
Oh, wow. What an excuse.
We
Yeah.
told you. My mom checks my location. You said, okay, when you're with me, turn it off.
Are you serious?
I swear on it.
No.
Oh my, you are sick. All right, let's do it. Just a light polygraph test.
And then
I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. You're gonna answer them, and that's it. Yeah, turn it off. Are you in California?
yes.
Do you know how to drive a car?
This is crazy.
True.
Have you ever been with an underage?
Big fail. The youngest girl I had ever known in my life is 23. Why?
You're lying.
Look at this.
This is crazy. That's it, bro. That's it. That's all we wanted to know.
How can I prove to you
You just had a
that
moment.
I am right? No, not about the life.
There's no way to prove
Common
it.
sense, okay?
There's no common sense. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear. Sir, we just had a lie detector test. The best lie detector test in LA County. I asked you 4 times. 4 times, the same question. And you failed 4 times. You failed, sir. I gotta go. Chat, I gotta go. It's all the same story.
If you put a plant up to a radio tower, it will transmute a frequency or a sound wave through the plant. This is absolutely crazy. The sound is coming through the plant. Just watch the video. Are y'all seeing this? This just goes to show you that radio sound waves can be transmitted through plants. I found that absolutely crazy that it didn't even need a speaker. Sound waves was emitted directly through the plant. So frequency waves can be transmuted through organic objects. And we learning something new every single day, ain't we? Now I'm curious, y'all let me know what y'all think about organic matter transmuting radio frequencies in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom, and stay tuned.
The birds chirp in the morning to wake the plants up. Do you know that?
I was 8 years old. I never used a Q-tip in my ears. I have not brushed my teeth since I was 8 years old. Oh yeah, I'm 62 years old and I got every one of them. Never had a cavity and I've never had any problems with them. Go figure that one out.
8 years old.
No, I just do hydrogen peroxide.
You gotta start with that.
Yep.
No,
Let's
the
start with
reason
that.
why, go on a YouTube video and watch if you put Crest on a toothbrush, okay? Take that same toothbrush on a rusted chrome bumper and watch it just take all the rust right off the bumper. Now that's the same thing that you're cleaning your teeth with. What you're doing is you're withdrawing the enamel. In other words, you're taking the enamel, the protection off your teeth when you brush. Why? Why? What did Moses use soap when he was? Did Jesus? Did any of them? They lived 400. Moses lived 400 years. He did something right.
Okay, I've been hearing this a lot. I'm going to start oil pulling and hydrogen peroxide for my teeth. I'm starting next week. Let me know how you feel about this. Please drop a comment.
No, I'm the crazy conspiracy guy. I get it. I'm gonna try and keep it together for this one. I think we might have found him. I think we might have found the time traveler. And if you haven't seen this video yet, this guy down here goes into a shed and disappears. And then the next day, this guy walks out of the shed. When I first saw this video, I thought it was just fake. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was some sort of skit. So much so that I stitched it with like a silly little I'm a time traveler thing. But I've gone through it and I can't figure it out. If it is a hoax, it's done well. But I also kind of think it's possible that there's a portal in the guy's shed. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but have you seen the show 11/22/63?
I need you to go in this closet, take a look around, then I'll tell you everything. That was 1960.
I always liked that show, but it always bothered me that the time portal was in a pantry in a diner. Like, wouldn't they have figured that out when they built the pantry? But I guess, like, maybe, I don't know. But it's like the same principle as what happened to the gentleman in the shed. Like, he went in as, like, what, mid to late 20s, came out early to mid 60s, so he might have spent 40 years in there? Like, well, in the past. And he's wearing modern clothes, so he could have brought, like, his backpack could have had a change of clothes in it for when he came back to the future. But what did he change? Because let's say he went back to 1960, spent 40 years, then he would have come back in 2000, like come back to 2024 in 2000. But I'm convinced that it's the same guy, because unless they're just really closely related, they have the same walk, the same mannerisms, the same facial structure. I don't know, I think it's pretty close. So if he's from this timeline, if he comes back to 2024, somebody's got to recognize him. Like, I mean, it's not the clearest picture, but somebody has to know who he is. But we also have to start looking in the past. Like, he couldn't have left no footprint. There has to be a picture of him or a story about him or something. Like, he can't have just done nothing for 30 or 40 years. There's got to be something history-wise that proves he was there. Start in Florida. That's where the guy's Airbnb is. But anyway, internet, do your thing. Come on, guys. We need to find this guy. We just need to find him and ask him some questions. That's all we need to do. Also, can somebody find out where that Airbnb is, where the shed is located? Because, want to try something.
You're assuming he went back in time. Why? If he's a time traveler, he could go anywhere in time.
In 2019, Brazilian gang leader Clavino da Silva, otherwise known as Shorty, attempted to escape prison dressed as his 19-year-old daughter. So apparently on the day that he tried to escape, Shorty's 19-year-old daughter had been visiting him, and he had had this disguise smuggled in. So he literally just tried to walk out of the prison looking like this. But when the guards suspected something was up with this random woman that was trying to leave the prison, they got out their phones, started recording, and told the person that they needed to strip. And this is what led to that disturbing looking video that I played you a clip from at the beginning of this TikTok. Obviously, it was revealed that this was not a 19-year-old girl, It was a 42-year-old gang leader who was supposed to be serving a 73-year-long sentence. But this wasn't the end of the story for Shorty. You see, just a few days after this escape attempt, Shorty was found dead in his prison cell. Authorities afterwards claimed that Shorty had taken his own life. But in my opinion, I believe this might have been some sort of gang retaliation for the embarrassment that he put them through. I don't know, it is a pretty eerie disguise when you look at it. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts.
He looked like the dude from House of Wax, and probably would have been less suspicious if he walked out without a disguise.
Looks like an office building, right? Wrong. Looks like a synagogue. Wrong. These are actually oil rigs scattered around Los Angeles with these fake buildings around them to kind of hide them and trick the public into thinking they're not living near an active oil site. Easy to forget, but Los Angeles is one of the largest urban oil fields in the US. This is what Huntington Beach looked like a long time ago. Here's one on Pico Boulevard that just looks like a sad office building without any windows. But what do you know? Surprise, surprise, it's hiding 51 oil wells inside of it. As you can see from above, it's like open air, just, spewing toxic chemicals to the houses right there, smack dab. It's in the middle of a neighborhood. Can't be good. Then in Pico Robertson, this structure is supposed to look like a synagogue, but no, religion catfish, it's actually an oil rig. You can see from above. But my personal favorite is this entire island off Long Beach that looks like a bachelorette casino destination. Unique structures that are, you guessed it, they're oil rigs. There's actually like 4 of them scattered off the coast of Long Beach, and they're known as the Astronaut Islands because they're named after deceased astronauts. I don't understand the connection, but the building and everything is meant to kind of reduce noise and other forms of pollution, but the same protections are not being applied to all the boatloads of oil rigs elsewhere in under-resourced neighborhoods. So that's a whole other story.
I think wells don't spew chemicals. You're thinking of refinery. But let me know what you think about this.
Blocking celebrities and influencers, but let's take it a step further. What about the businesses that we know are poisoning us? The politicians that we know are lying to us? The companies that support those businesses, politicians, and celebrities? The news outlets that talk about them? The streaming services that host the content? If you really want to make a difference, get rid of it all. Chipping away at the system that was built that all of these people could get extremely rich based off entertainment, based off lying, based off monopolizing goods that people need every single day. That's really how we make the change. Because we know celebrities and influencers make a lot of their money online, off their social media platforms, off the movies that they produce, off the TV shows that they produce. But it most certainly does not stop there. All of these bigger organizations make a lot of money on social media. And if we're not agreeing with their practices and agreeing with their ways, blocking them is the best choice because it prevents us from seeing any of the content, which prevents them from making money.
Yup, amplify. Stick to local business, folks. Support them.
Elite enough to even be invited to the Met Gala because I'm not elite. I'm a normal person.
You're not a normal person, and let me tell you why. Hi, I'm Lip Reading Girl. I have 1.4 million followers, and just the other day, I was noticed on the tiny Caribbean island that I live on by a tourist. If I'm getting noticed by random tourists on a tiny island at 1.4 million followers, who do you think's recognizing you at 10 million followers? Everyone probably. At least the majority. And honey, that is not a normal person. I've just recently started becoming somewhat known on this app. And let me tell you, my life has been nothing but normal since then. I lived a normal life before this. I worked the 9-to-5 job before this. That was normal. What I'm doing now, I would not consider normal. And I know that because when I talk about it to my friends and my family, they're like, oh my God, that's crazy that you're doing this on TikTok. And it's the truth. You are not a normal person, dude. You have privilege that other people do not have. And that's a fact. Trust me, I know because I have it in like 1/10 of what you have.
Her apartment costs $17,000 a month in New York City. If you know, you know.
She's a photographer, and during the Toronto ice storm, she was taking pictures of the icicles and stuff. She was using a super macro lens to zoom in. This is not photo. This is a real pic. I'm not kidding. This is literally her picture.
Okay.
They caught a face in the picture. It gets crazier though, because once she noticed there was something there, she brought it to somebody that could see like spirits, and she noticed more spirits in the pic. That more than just the
Show
one.
them the face.
The one is the most noticeable though.
Like, you'll
Just
notice
protects
it right
me, though,
away,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
hold on. Let me protect myself real quick.
Protect me, bro.
Alright.
Look and see if you
see the face?
Right there. I really just want to believe that's an icicle, bro. That's everyone, fam. There's so many other faces here, though.
You see the other faces?
Yeah, that one's like in pain, bro.
Wait, what?
They're screaming.
Oh my god.
You didn't notice? They're screaming. They're like.
Oh my god. Where? Oh my. Oh my. Oh.
That's a new.
It looks like three faces.
Oh my god, it does look like three.
It looks like three. That's what I thought. Like, you know the Mount Rushmore faces? That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I mean, that makes sense. If there's one in thing, they would all be together.
Oh, also because water holds memories.
Oh,
so,
really?
It's a picture of icicle. Water holds memories.
Wow.
Didn't we learn that in Frozen, guys? Olaf taught us this.
I like them guys. They're very entertaining.
This is amazing. This is 3,000-year-old water control technology. All you have to do is just slide your finger and it slows down the water up to 70%. And this was Incan technology. Can you imagine? We're just breaking close to the tip of the iceberg of what these civilizations knew.
We need a whole plumbing system to do this. So who are the real advanced civilization? The one with complicated systems or the one with simplicity?
Reporter Michael Falk joins us now with his interview. Nice to see you again, Michael.
I cannot see you, Brooke. I can only hear you.
Right.
Okay. Hello, Brooke. I finished speaking with Brian Wasserman 26 minutes ago, and I've been standing here since then waiting for you to talk to me. Watch that interview now. Brian Wasserman used to live in a very big mansion. Now he lives in a tiny jail cell. Is living in prison different from living in a 40,000 square foot mansion in Westchester?
Yeah, it's different.
How is it different from living in a 40,000 square foot mansion in Westchester?
Well, it's every second of my day is accounted for. It's just day after day of rigid routine.
Rigid routine. What is the rigid routine?
Well, we get up at exactly 6 a.m.
Yes.
Exactly 6:15 a.m. Everyone is counted.
Counted.
Yeah, we have to line up 7 times a day
Line
to be
up.
counted.
Line up and be counted.
And then there's the food. I'd never tasted such terrible food.
How long do you have to stay in the line?
We have to walk in lines everywhere.
Do you have to make that line straight?
Oh, yeah. Well, frankly, I always thought you didn't have to do anything in prison, but we have a work detail, and it's hard. Just yesterday, I spent the entire day stacking crates, just one on top of the other.
I like to stack.
You do?
Yes, I like to stack crates, stacking crates.
Yeah, well, it's hard work.
Yes, stacking crates.
I don't mean to complain, but
One on top of another,
I
on top
realize
of
what I
another,
did
on top of
was
another, on
wrong.
top of another.
I just want to serve my time, and maybe I can get out of here and get back to my family.
Why do you want to get out of here?
For my family.
Can you stack your family?
What?
I want to be in prison.
No, you don't.
I want to be in prison.
No, you don't.
Yes.
You see, it takes its toll on you. Well, you wear the same clothes every day,
Yes.
and you live in this tiny little box, and
Yes.
and there's hardly any human contact.
How do I get to live here?
No.
How do I get to live here? I need
you
to go to
don't-
prison now.
I don't think you understand.
Now.
You see, this is a scary
Now.
place.
Now.
I mean, sure, there are normal guys like me who are in here for embezzling and fraud, but
that takes too long.
we
I need to go
also
to
have
prison now.
violent
I need to go
offenders.
now.
I mean, the guy in the next cell over, he robbed the convenience store and shot the cashier.
Robbed a convenience store.
Yeah,
I
so
shot the cashier.
No, don't tell him
you
that.
know,
Okay.
I mean, it's a
Make sure the
scary
cashier's
place.
dead.
It's rough.
Make sure the cashier is dead.
Look at this, y'all.
I can definitely tell you that this is acted extremely well. I would presume the actor has a close family member with autism or spent time.
A gigantic warm spot has been spotted through satellite pictures in Lake Michigan. Look how big that is. Look, first look at this right here, y'all. It looks like there is something coming out of it. Look at that. It looks like land is rising, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the South Antarctic anomaly again, something like that. But you guys know the story or the history of Lake Michigan, right? Right? The nickname for Lake Michigan is Lake Michigan Graveyard Did you know that there are over 10,000 boats and vessels and over 30,000 people that have been caught drowning in Lake Michigan? Did you guys know that? They called it Lake Michigan Graveyard. Not only that, but as of recently, look, Atlantis under a Michigan lake, they found a prehistoric structure in Lake Michigan, you guys. Now, they are calling it Stonehenge because they don't want to throw people off. But look, to create structures like Egyptian pyramids or British Stonehenge. The definition of Stonehenge is literally a prehistoric megalithic structure. You know what I'm saying? So that could be anything, a big rock. But what they are saying is they just found a pyramid under Lake Michigan. Now, I don't know how true this is, y'all, but take a listen to this.
Have you heard that a gigantic pyramid just popped up from nowhere under Lake Michigan and scientists saw something terrifying inside? No way. Yo, check this out. Just last week, a bunch of researchers from Detroit decided to dive deep to explore what's under the lake. Little did they know, they were about to hit the jackpot of weird. They gear up, and as they're sinking deeper, they start hearing these bizarre noises no one's heard before, even though they've traveled around these parts loads of times. Oh, yeah. They shrugged it off and kept going. But then, bam, out of the blue, they spot this massive structure chilling in the distance. So the crew hops out for a closer look, running tests on the thing, and here's the kicker. The material itself doesn't match anything on our planet. Oh my god. It's like some alien architect swung by and left us a little souvenir. They're all freaking out because, hello, this is uncharted territory.
Now, again, I don't know how true this is because they do things behind our back and they don't tell us anything, you guys. Remember, they just leave us in the dark. But it says more confusion has been added to this long-standing mystery with the discovery of an enigmatic prehistoric structure beneath the U.S. Lake Michigan. So they're probably finding a whole bunch of things down there, and they're not telling us about anything because they want to keep us in the dark. They don't want us to know what's really happening around the world, y'all. But this right here is something to look into because there's changing happening all over our planet, and this right here is a big deal. Not just because of what Lake Michigan is known for, but what is coming out of that lake. What is coming out of that lake? This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift, y'all. Peace in.
Remember the episode of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix with the 100s of witnesses watching UFO fly underwater at Lake Michigan? If you're from Michigan, drop a comment.
Study that just came out exposed the brands Chanel and Dior and the false sense of security that they've been giving you when they're actually making you sick. These brands have been found to have heavy metals and hormone disrupting chemicals in their perfumes that you put onto your skin, which then take 26 seconds to enter your bloodstream, which then cause your white blood cells to be deployed to fight out these harmful chemicals, which distracts them from supporting your immune system. Your immune system, the exact system that your body uses to fight off cancer cells. I've added the ChemTrust study here so you can see it, and you need to do yourself a major favor, go beyond the brands and the claims that they make, and consider things like essential oils, jasmine or lavender that actually have healing properties in which our ancestors have been using for centuries without the diseases we have today. Send this to a friend who you know is spending hundreds of dollars on these poisons and help them have a healthier life.
When I wear cologne, I put it on clothes, never on skin. And I guess we are boycott the perfumes too.
Something really weird is happening with evangelicals in this country, and we don't totally know why. Hi, I study the far right with an emphasis on Christian nationalism. To understand why this new phenomenon is so strange, you have to understand the two major trends of religion and politics in the American landscape since like the 1980s. The first one is the fusion of the Republican Party with evangelical Protestantism. It's hard for us now to imagine a world in which this wasn't the case, but this was a political development and a political tactic chosen in the 80s as churches in the South who were running their segregated academies were losing their IRS tax-exempt status. They responded by getting involved in politics. It was not because of abortion. They saw abortion as a Catholic issue, or they were in support of abortion rights. But since then, we've seen a very successful fusion of being Republican with being this sort of like conservative, evangelical coded family values type identity. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is the increase of people in the United States and across Western countries generally who are no longer identifying with mainstream Christianity or mainstream religion. That's been a steady development since like the 90s. But in 2020, survey data showed that the number of evangelicals in the United States were going up. So evangelicals saw this data and they were like, oh my God, we're doing such a good job. We're just bringing everyone to Christ. But that's not actually what's happening. Something much stranger is happening. This was panel survey data. So what that means is that they surveyed people in, I think, 2016, and then they went back and they surveyed them again in 2020, asking them the same questions. And what they found was that people who identified as secular or as a different religion from Protestant Christianity were now identifying as evangelical. Their identities had shifted. So political scientist Ryan Burge thinks that the reason that this is happening is twofold. So for the secular people who are now identifying as evangelical, he thinks that because it correlates statistically with partisan identity, that to be Republican now for some people means to be evangelical. And so to claim the title of evangelical, even as a secular person, is to say, I believe I'm a Republican. I'm an evangelical, I'm a Republican. But he thinks the reason that other religious people are identifying as evangelical now, in addition to whatever religious persuasion they are, is different from just that partisan identity that's happening with secular people who are identifying as evangelical. And what he thinks is happening there is that people are understanding the term evangelical as meaning someone of deeply held religious and probably conservative beliefs. So in other words, someone who is a Buddhist says, I'm a Buddhist, but I'm also an evangelical because I strongly believe in the teachings of the Buddha. But we don't actually know. This is based off of statistical correlations. We need to actually be going out and asking people, why are you, what's going on here? Like, tell me more about this. So that's research that's really exciting and needs to happen. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm super fascinated by these findings, and I think that they probably have a lot of importance for the upcoming election. But also, if you're someone who's secular or a different religion who's now identifying as evangelical, please tell me why. Be very interesting to learn from you.
If anyone asks what is my religion, I said I don't have one. What I have is a relationship with Christ. Even Jesus doesn't like religious people. Remember the Pharisees in the Bible? The religious leader that know the Torah inside out? Jesus called them rattlesnakes.
These are the 5 stupidest deaths this week. Number 5, the 39-year-old American woman that ended up brain dead over a 4chan prank. The woman chugged 2 liters of soy sauce, which is 5 times the fatal dose of sodium intake, in an attempt to cleanse her colon. This was because of a prank called the soy sauce cleanse, which was supposed to take harmful toxins out of the body. Instead, she went into cardiac arrest, had irreversible nerve damage, and ended up completely brain dead, which counts as death. Number 4, a 39-year-old man died trying to get his phone out of a paper-mache dinosaur. Somehow, he lost his phone in a dinosaur art display and decided it was a good idea to single-handedly crawl in and try and get it. He ended up getting trapped inside the dinosaur's leg and dying by suffocation. The father and son were enjoying the art installation when they suddenly noticed a weird bulge, and they were the ones to call the firefighters, who actually had to cut the dinosaur open to extract the corpse. Number 3, the owner of the Segway company who died on a Segway. In 2010, Jimmy Hesselden was out walking his dog on a Segway. He was walking up to another dog walker, so he reversed his Segway to let them pass and accidentally fell off a cliff. Even more ironically, this happened just before the scheduled release of a study that suggested that Segway-related injuries were actually on the rise. Number 2, the man who turned a lava lamp into a grenade. In 2004, a man named Philip Quinn bought a new lava lamp. Hell yeah. But when it arrived and he turned it on, he decided it wasn't heating up fast enough. So he got the lava lamp, which is a glass bottle full of liquid, and he put it on the kitchen stove. Not long later at all, you can probably guess, the thing exploded, shooting a huge shard of glass directly into his heart, which killed him pretty quickly. Number 1 is just hilariously ironic, but first, before I get to it, if you like these sorts of videos, you want to know how I script, shoot, and edit stuff that's this viral all the time, I actually have a full course on my page. It's great value for money, and it's the exact formula that got me over 500 million Number 1 views.
is the pro-gun TikToker and
lawyer who accidentally shot himself. Leandro Matias de Narvaez was taking his mother to hospital, but didn't think to remove the gun from his waistband when he was told not to take anything metallic into an MRI scanner. If you don't know what that is, it's effectively a huge magnet. So he's in there with his mum, the MRI turns on, the magnetic field rips the gun out of his waistband, triggering it to fire directly into his stomach. He died very shortly afterwards, but at least they didn't take his guns away.
I heard that MRI scanners are always on. It costs $100,000 in liquid helium to turn them off and on. Is that right? Please drop a comment.
There are images of jinn on Google, and the worst part is not only do they have names, like the names of the jinns, it was so easy to find. Like, they're not literal pictures because you can't take a picture of a jinn, but they're like ancient scripture, like drawn out. They're accurately depicted jinns. And it looks like something like art inspired from like a different century. And I know they're accurate because I've literally seen one a year ago. And it's not just like one or two, it's like so many. Like, I don't know what to do with this information because I would post it here, but then I feel like I would do more harm than good for people because you're gonna think about it for the next 3 days. But like, I want to talk about it so bad because I don't know, they just interest me. The craziest thing is, like, you know how there's different types of jinns? Like, they all have like different qualities or like levels to some jinns. Like, some of them can only harness or possess certain powers. There's a whole bunch of pictures on only one type of jinn, and they look so weird. They look like a combination of, and there's so many, so, but like the majority of them look like a combination of animals, like mixed with a bunch of animals, also mixed with humans. But then there's some that don't even look like any of them. And there was literally one, which I looked into it, and apparently this type is a hybrid of like humans and jinns. Y'all, this thing was so skinny. It had like one leg and one eye. These things are walking the earth.
I'm from Indonesia. The majority of the people here are Muslim. They believe in jinn, and I heard so many stories about them. But I believe jinn is nothing but demon. What do you think?
So you guys, I just pulled over to use the restroom car, I drive trucks, and look what I seen.
I'm sorry, that can't be real. That's... Oh! No! No!
I think the head has been added by somebody, but the shape in the tree is real. It looks freaky, but pretty easy to create.
To the Matrix with this mirror, man. What is happening? It took me a minute to get this. I was like, okay, what's going on in this picture? The shoe is the same way. Look, it's facing the same way, whether it is in the mirror or not. And he moves his foot to the other side to like prove like, hey, look, my feet are right in the mirror, but the shoe's not. And then he even touches the mirror to show you like, this is a good one, man.
Augmented reality graphics. The shoe looks like a 3D model that has been overlaid on the video.
Saliva under the microscope.
What about the human saliva under the microscope? And if we keep watching everything with microscope, we will not eat or touch anything.
Bro, are you sure it's not fake?
Buddy.
Yeah.
Why are you
Buddy.
holding it down so hard? Look. It's literally a scanner. We could call the police right now.
Busted.
Look, this is the real one.
Look,
I have it all
that's
on
just
video.
fake, bro. Like, I
Don't
thought you
use your
checked
cards
it.
in places like this. You're trying to steal your information.
Bro, just be careful.
We're acting confused. You knew that was there.
Like, come on, bro. Look, get his name and everything, because he's saying that you
What's your
checked it
name?
and you confirmed
My
it.
name is. The guys like come over here, give me cigarette, they put.
Yeah, but I thought you checked it. You even said
You
it's
said
real.
that it was
You
real.
said you checked, but obviously not, bro.
We put tape
Look, this is the
this
real
side.
tap, or what is this?
We put tape here. Now this one new.
So how come it says
they
right here
cover
tap to
for-
pay? If tap's up here, why does it say right here tap to pay?
I also need this. Give me. Like, wanna click?
No, we can call the
bro,
police.
yeah.
This is
I need
evidence.
to click this for show my boss.
No, it's fine, bro. We'll show him the video and shit.
Finally, someone who took the schemer with them. Good job. Always use Google, Samsung, or Apple Pay. Encrypts your card number, folks.
I feel like as a society, we don't talk enough about prion diseases. Prion diseases have got to be like one of the most sinister, horrifying things in nature. And the worst part is they could be living inside of you right now and you would have no idea. Prion diseases are so under-researched that they are being misdiagnosed. Supposedly, there's only 300 cases of prion diseases in the US per year. However, somehow I have taken care of 2 confirmed cases of them in my 5-year career as a nurse, and a third that was suspected but never confirmed. Prions are a protein chain. They are not a virus. They are not a bacteria. They are not even technically alive, but somehow they are able to cause fatal, incurable disease in human beings. In humans, these diseases take a couple of different forms and they look very different. Once you have the active form of the disease, there is nothing we can do to stop it from killing you. We also have a pretty good guess, but no definite idea how these diseases spread. There are 3 main types. Sporadic, which means random, just kind of happened. We have no idea what caused it. Inherited, which means, yes, you inherited it genetically, which is like fatal insomnia. It's thought to be inherited. It is basically a prion disease that causes you to just never sleep again and then you die. And then acquired, which is things like mad cow disease, which happens from eating infected meat, whether it's cow or game.
Oh.
A lot of game meat has prions in it. So even if you are hunting your meat, you need to send it in to be tested.
Yeah.
Things like wasting disease in the deer population right now, that's a prion disease. And if you eat that meat, it's theorized that that can then give you basically CJD or mad cow, which are both prion diseases and both fatal 100% of the time. Now, one thing we need to talk about with prion diseases is that the Trump administration made it so that meat companies in the United States no longer have to test for prions in their meat. And the Biden administration has not overruled that. I have never seen a more miserable death. When I took care of a mad cow patient, the first mad cow patient I had, that patient we thought was unaware of what was going on. They couldn't move at all. Didn't respond to any commands, didn't follow any commands. But when we were talking to their family member about the prognosis, that man started crying. He had tears coming from his eyes. He was completely immobile, but had tears falling out of his eyeballs. That moment fucked me, and I have never eaten red meat since. So yeah, in case you needed a new thing to obsess and freak out over, it's prions. Oh yeah, and the worst part, they can live dormant in your body for like 20 and you would never know.
Now I feel like I have to take off my skin and wash my bones or something. That's why I always plead the blood of Christ over me and my loved one, so I fear nothing.
Dangerous animal on this planet.
If your cat does this to you, you need to run. Hi, my name is Issy and I have a master's in animal homicide investigation. You might think that what that cat did was just something harmless and cute, but in fact, you'd be gravely mistaken and you could lose your life. So when you go to the store and you try to test out how ripe watermelon is, you can usually tap it and you can hear from the sound how ripe it is. Just like watermelons, cats are tapping on your forehead to see how structurally sound, your forehead and thus your brain is. Please follow me here. So in different parts of the day, you can test how structurally sound your forehead is and your skull is if you just lightly tap it. Cats know this and will start tapping your head in different parts of the day in order to figure out when your skull is structurally at its weakest point. You might be wondering, why would they do this? So when your skull isn't as strong, that means that your thoughts and your decision-making skills aren't as strong also. So your cats know this, and this is when they'll start taking advantage of you. They'll tend to ask for more snacks, more pets, more snuggles, and they'll start to just bully you more. And because you're more susceptible to their manipulation, that's how they can easily lead you to your death if you're not careful enough. They'll run outside and you'll go to follow them and you'll go into traffic and you get hit by a car so they can take over your home. In order to stop your cats from potentially unaliving you, when they lift up their paw, you just need to block it off. Just block off your forehead. That way they'll never know when you're at your stupidest point. Hope this helps.
This is funny. Oh, hey, I side-eye my cat because he was right next to me the first time I watched this. I have 4 cats, by the way.
Have y'all seen this video of this guy right here yet? People say she kidnapped him.
Who has the best girlfriend ever?
I do.
Who just bought you all this stuff?
She did.
She did.
And all the stuff?
My girl bought all of it, and I'm about to eat this, and then we're gonna chow on that after. So, happy Easter.
Yeah. But we're not eating it all. Just know that. Because we gotta save some.
Yeah.
Budget cuts, Save. So we're gonna scoff this stuff down. Because Boo deserved it. Even though we get in our arguments sometimes, I still love you, okay?
I love you too.
Yeah.
I love you too, baby.
Yeah, you better. So I just spent some money on you. Yeah.
Oh, I felt secondhand captured. He is either scared or not all there.
Just people will just be like, Ozempic. What is your energy on that?
Oh boy, I'll start with this. Up until now, my strong opinion is we are in the beginning of the most effective medical intervention for obesity that we've ever seen in our lives. This is going to completely revolutionize and change pharmaceutical industry. That's how powerful these peptides are. That being said, okay, it's not a panacea. So here's what they do. And I'm not going to get into the science, but let's talk about why people lose weight on them. You eat less. It crushes your appetite. For somebody who's really struggling with severe obesity, I could see this as being profoundly beneficial in combination with good coaching on changing behaviors so that this is something that sticks. Because once you go off, then your body your appetite will probably go back to where it was before. So if you work with somebody with a GLP-1 through modifying behaviors, that's where we could probably use it. Massive potential for abuse. That's the fear.
Okay, so
I hear Ozempic can be bad for people who don't actually need it, but such an amazing tool for those who need it. But let me know what you think about this.
You know how they say that the past, present, and future is all existing simultaneously? The way that we perceive time in chronological order linearly is not the way that time actually moves if the past, present, and future are all existing simultaneously. Everything in the universe starts with the Fibonacci sequence. The universe is literally composed of mathematical equations. Every single thing grows in this pattern. It's a hurricane, a galaxy, an ammonite, a succulent, an acorn. You can even see this in any fetus. Galaxies are formed this way. Like, the list goes on, you get it. When you see the Fibonacci sequence in 3 dimensions, you see it in these staircases or in a tornado. So for those that believe this block theory that time is not happening linearly, that all time is happening simultaneously, and time is happening in the 4th dimension. Stay with me. What if Time is happening in the Fibonacci sequence. Like, if you take a look at this staircase, every single person on this staircase, no matter what point they're at on the staircase, they can see each other. Another one made of glass, just to make you get the idea better. I know this might be hard to grasp, but I feel like I'm onto something here. If everything starts and grows in this pattern, what if this is the energetic architecture of the path of our lives, the growth of our lives, and the way that time moves? In 2016, when I first opened my third eye, I had this vision of the Fibonacci sequence unwinded like this in the 3 dimension, and I saw a man go through his entire life in the Fibonacci sequence. But the bottom was the widest point and the top was the smallest point. He started his life at the bottom, at the opening, and as he went up to death and enlightenment, he got to the top. As that path narrows, though, there's less and less room. Like, pretend you're in a tunnel and you have less room for things that are unimportant. So I was watching this man go through this cycle of his life where all of these things that he thought were important no longer became important the closer that he got to death. There is something about the Fibonacci sequence that is so sacred that my brain is trying so hard to understand, because I am always getting these downloads about the Fibonacci sequence and I cannot quite put my finger on what the but the other day, get this download. Time moves in the Fibonacci sequence. That is how you can see all time happening simultaneously, because no matter what point you are at in the Fibonacci sequence, whether it is unwound in the 3D or it is in 2 dimensions, you would be able to see at any given point in time. Does that make sense? Or do I?
The Fibonacci sequence also fractal, so it wouldn't be narrowing, but ever expanding and reducing in pattern. Like, what is it? Singularity. And have you seen the movie Pi by Darren Aronofsky? It's about mathematicians obsessed with the Fibonacci sequence.
The European Union just banned cryptocurrencies in the form that it is now illegal to have a anonymous wallet. So you could take your cryptocurrency off of an exchange, move it onto a device,
but they need to know.
Now
they need to know how much money you have in there, because they're going to tax assess it.
Yep, and now you cannot have any transaction person to person over $3,000. Cannot happen
in Europe.
In Europe, has to be multiple transactions, and a business cannot have any customer that gets billed or paid over $10,000. Has to be broken into multiple transactions. I don't know why that would be, because there obviously is a record of it anyways, just as there is here.
I don't care. Europe's about to go into World War III, so.
This just pushes the crypto economy underground where it can thrive. We need more on-ramps that pay for work with crypto so people can enter, the market without fiat. Please protect, God, please protect the innocent, especially children.
Teeth can heal and they should not be deteriorating, and if they do have a little decay, they have the ability to heal themselves as every other body tissue does. So why aren't they healing? Maybe they haven't been given the right times, or they have not been given the right conditions. If you don't drink adequate water, that saliva does not have the ability to bathe, soothe, nourish and heal. Internal fluid would be your blood and your lymph, and remember what the lymph does, it sweeps away waste from the tissues. Remember what the blood does, it comes along with the nutrition, it comes along with the oxygen, it comes along with the water, the white blood cells. So this internal fluid is bathing from the inside, and your external fluid is your saliva. Their quality is totally dependent on fresh air, sunshine, not taking anything in that will harm it, going to bed early, exercising every day, having a nourishing diet. Teeth are the only exposed bones in the body, and just as if a bone breaks, it'll heal.
If you don't know, now you know.
One clear way to know that we're in a new place is that some of us will see something and we're like, oh, that's never been like that. And other people will be like, oh, it's always like that. Like the moon. I've lived 44 years. I've never seen the moon like that, at the bottom. I've seen it on the different sides, never on the bottom or the top. Or the top. Like, that would be crazy. So if we're seeing it on the bottom, in theory, we would also see the opposite, right? Crazy. But there's so many people who are like, it's always been like that, man. It's really normal. No, it's not. So it would appear that some of us are in a new place with a moon that acts differently than what we're used to. I also think that probably has to do with why it was 80 degrees yesterday in Virginia in the middle of March. I think we're definitely in a new place, you guys. It feels new. It smells new. It tastes new. The seasons are new. It's a new place for some of us anyways. And some people, you've always been here. So we're going to seem like weirdos pointing out everything that's new, but it's new to us. We've come from a different place.
No one else noticed the moon out in the daytime?
I have the craziest hack that will teach you how to eat bread and not get fat. Seriously, not gain a pound and eat as much bread as you want. Are you ready for this insane hack? Drop me a hell yes in the comments below. Like, share, save this video, send it to 3 people you know that could benefit from it, and get ready to have your mind blown. All right, you guys are not going to believe how easy this is. You just freeze the bread. You can do it with potatoes, you can do it with rice. You just put it in the freezer. So guys, here's what this does. It creates what's called a resistant starch, okay? By freezing the bread, you can cool it in the fridge too, but I do recommend freezing. But by freezing the bread, you create what's called a resistant starch, and it has very little impact on blood sugar. In fact, there is a 50% reduction in blood sugar spikes when you freeze the bread as opposed to eating it regular, just like this. So, you can do keto and have your bread and eat it too. Follow me for more tips. Check out my free ebooks up in my bio.
However, this does not work with ice cream. I've tried. Alright folks, I'm going to end our video with this clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make better content. You can also buy me coffee or support me on Patreon. If you like, the link are in the description below. Thanks for watching. Peace and God bless.
I didn't know anything about lotion. Never used it the first 33 years of my life. Never used it. Till one night I was going out with this black girl, right? She was getting ready and she was just putting that shit to her. Slapping it on. I thought she had like a rash or something. I'm like, what do you got? Poison ivy? What's going on with you? She goes, no, I'm just making sure I'm not ashy. I said, ashy? She goes, dry skin. I went, Mom. I guess I freaked her out a little bit because I was like, Mom. She's like, well, white people get ashy too. I was like, yeah, you know, I don't think we do. Yeah, I've been alive for 33 years. No one has ever said, hey, Bill, you look a little ashy. I never even heard that word until you said it. She's like, you're an idiot. Stick out your arm. So I stick out my arm, and ever so gently, she just drags her nails down. This smoke starts coming up. There's like pastry flakes flying off, track marks. She's signing her name. She's like, you see that? She goes, that's ashy. You're ashy? That's right. I'm like, holy shit, ashy. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was that I always got itchy in the winter. Couldn't figure it out. Always got itchy in the winter. What the fuck do I get itchy? I thought it meant the bath towel was dirty. That's what I thought. And I would change it out and put a fresh one. Now I'm going to be okay. Take a shower, dry itching again. God damn it, I hate the winter. That's why you got to hang out with everybody. That's right. There's too much information in the world, and every group of people misses a little bit. Yep. White people totally missed the lotion seminar at some point in history. I don't know if it's because we can't see it. You know, black people get ashy. It looks like they leaned up against a chalkboard or something. Hey. You know, they can see it. They miss it. Their friends help them out. Like, oh, Joe, ashy mother. What is wrong with you? Right? We do. We missed the way black people missed the whole register your weapons summit. Right? The amount of rappers who've been busted for the unregistered Glock in the car just blows my mind. It's like, why would you do that to yourself? Do you just want to make an album over the phone? Is that what it is? Is that like the new auto-tune or something? I don't know. No, it breaks my heart every time I see it. I just think, God, if he just had one white friend. He just had one white friend in his entourage. Dude would have been sitting there going like, is that thing registered? You out of your mind? Get it out of there. Get it out of there. Yeah, it's illegal. That's like 3 to 5 mandatory. Dude, how do you not know that? That's the question. How do you not know that? This guy's got an unregistered weapon in the car. Like we're just gonna go driving around with it.